Last match today is Spurs against Southampton from White Hart Lane. I tell you, they were still getting their breath back there after that amazing cup tie against Swindon in midweek when Spurs scored twice in the last 6 minutes to beat Swindon. There was almost an air of carnival and celebration there yesterday, to the point that a team of parachutists came dropping in. To the amusement of the crowd, this is somewhat half an hour before the kick-off. And indeed, one of them that came skidding in a moment or two after this actually had the match ball with him. There he is in the bag there. I tell you, it couldn't have been an easy job because there was quite a blustery wind around North London, and this gentleman here, he didn't quite make it, in fact, as you'll see in a moment. Disappearing heaven knows where, but certainly not at White Hart Lane. He disappears outside the ground there somewhere. All this then a preliminary to the arrival of the teams. And first of all, here are the home team Spurs.
The Spurs take the field. One of their former stars, Jimmy Greaves, a guest here today with his wife Irene. In fact, he's also doing a bit of work because ATV are making a full-length documentary on him to be shown on ITV later this month. The Spurs side then, it's bad news that Steve Perryman, who injured a knee when he saved a certain own goal on Wednesday night, he's out. Ricardo Villa is also out injured, but Terry Yorath returns after flu. Terry Naylor replaces Perryman, and Peter Taylor is in the number 11 shirt in place of Villa. Meanwhile, Southampton, they're unchanged. It's the side that beat Manchester City 4-1 in the last game. They didn't play last week, incidentally. The absentees still are Steve Williams, who's got a troublesome stomach injury, and David Peach, who gets a game in the Southampton reserves today after a long layoff through injury.
The referee is Reg Robinson of Woodbridge, and we're going to join the game now in the first half.
Hoddle. Naylor. Glenn Hoddle again for Tottenham. Yorath. Hughton's made a run down the right. And a very good piece of play indeed by the young fullback. And the extraordinary thing was that Yorath, without looking, seemed to know that he was making that run. In for Hoddle. Played on for Naylor. Little touch there for Taylor. Trying to go straight through Hebberd. Here's Hughton though. Pratt. Hughton's continued down that left. Pratt playing it in first time, but nobody up there in a threatening position. Waldron's header didn't get a lot of ground. Hoddle with the shots. And a goal kick. With 20 minutes gone, neither defence has had yet the slightest scare. Ardiles. John Pratt. Armstrong. Played in nicely there for Ardiles. Pratt playing it on for Hoddle. Dumped there by Holmes. And a free kick to Tottenham. And a couple of signs and a bit of frustration from Peter Taylor. And then the little chip coming in there, and Southampton could so easily have been. Alan Ball is going absolutely crazy with his defence there, and quite rightly too. I'm sure Laurie McMenemy, who was here on Wednesday, would have spotted the danger there, and that was the identical position from which Gerry Armstrong scored the winner against Swindon, and again it was a Peter Taylor free kick. And Armstrong was allowed to go absolutely free, but didn't get a touch with his head. Shannon's header. And McAllister's. And a foul on Channon, giving a free kick to Southampton, which they've already taken. Ball coming in there. Hebberd trying to get a header in there, but a good piece of play by Naylor. Got it away for Tottenham. Only as far here as Watson. Trying to force his way through physically. And a foul against the Southampton defender. Just when it looked as though Southampton might be making a useful situation there for themselves. As it is, it's a free kick which Ball has now taken here for Waldron. Driven in there and pushed away well by Barry Daines. Holmes turning it back again. If the big men are up, it could be trouble. Baker with a shot through a crowd of players, but hitting a Spurs defender and getting it away. And here's Taylor. Past one. Now faced by Golac. there might have been another corner given away by Golac, but this time it was more accurately played to the goalkeeper, Peter Wells. Short touch there for Baker. Here's Holmes. This could be trouble for Tottenham. The shot by Holmes, and it hits Gerry Daines on the left foot. Good swift break that by Southampton, and Holmes always dangerous when he gets it on the left foot. In the end, he hit the left foot of Gerry Daines. Headed on by Channon for Baker. Heading there towards Holmes, and this could be it. Holmes, and again hitting the left foot of Daines. Well, that's twice in about 90 seconds. Nick Holmes has been right through there, and twice it's been the left boot of Gerry Daines that has denied him a chance of putting Southampton into the lead. Watson's header. And now Golac. Baker. Channon challenged really firmly there by Hughton. Yorath, a good ball played here for Naylor. Played in again for Hoddle, right up there amongst the front men. Now, can Hoddle do something here? What a lovely bit of skill, and how near to being a really brilliant goal. Getting applause from his own teammates, and quite rightly so, when he took that ball from Naylor and took it on his chest, and the angle was always an awkward one, but somehow he still got a little lob floated in there, just beyond the far post. Pratt. Watson heading it down quite comfortably there for Nicholl. Ball to Golac. Played forward again towards Boyer. Ball joining in the attack again. Channon after this one. Naylor got ahead to it though. And McAllister after this one. A free kick to Tottenham. Which Naylor's taken. Taylor onside. Now, is this the chance for Spurs? Punched away well by Peter Wells. Southampton caught out a little there, the speed with which Spurs got that move going. And Wells equal to Taylor's shot. It's really pouring with rain now. Hoddle. And now Yorath. Played wide for Hughton. Ardiles. Oh, and Hughton going on his way across the goal there, but in fact it was cut out well there by Watson. And in fact the heavy rain that's falling now is going to just make that top a little bit greasy and could in fact quicken the pace in this game. If you would like to apply for that job, I can surely give you the address. Taylor's header. Nicely guided there for Pratt. Taylor taking it back again. A lot of space on the right for Holmes. McAllister going outside him as well. Still with Hoddle though. Played for Yorath. Wide here for Gerry Armstrong, but it wasn't a good one. And a chance now for Southampton to make a break with Hebberd. Hebberd going on his own, and he might get all the way to try a shot, hitting Gerry Daines once again. And Spurs are saved once more. Now Channon is offside. Two in the first half he saved with his left foot, and that was something around the knees, I would have thought, by Gerry Daines. Hebberd's backward header towards Boyer, over the top. Boyer thought it was a corner. Reg Robertson, the referee, pointing quite firmly to the edge of the 6-yard area that it's a goal kick. That's played on beautifully by Hoddle for Peter Taylor. And right across the face of that goal. And it's Graham Baker, in fact, who turns it away. Just a trace possibly of offside there as Peter Taylor turned that ball in. Skidding across that goal. Ball to Wells. Holmes losing touch. Now Ardiles from Yorath. Hoddle trying to get it into Ardiles' path again. And here comes Southampton with Hebberd, a long-range shot. Surely no problem there for Daines. Mick Channon, free kick. Ball to Baker. Ardiles, he really does battle for a ball like that. Oh, given away by Yorath now for Channon. They've got a few up, but they've got a free kick. Ball with it. She wasn't ready for it. Will Southampton get another go? Cross there towards Nicholl, just over the top. Armstrong. Did well there. Ardiles. That was a good, actually that was a very good piece of refereeing there. There was no intention there on Chris Nicholl's part as Ardiles fell, and Boyer getting involved in there, and there's some punching and fighting going in there between the Spurs players. Boyer is right in the middle of it. Golac got involved in it as well. Channon with a big smile on his face also. All beginning out of frustration, perhaps more than anything else. But certainly, yes, Phil Boyer and John Pratt. My word, that was really an explosive moment on what's been a pretty grey old afternoon. What's Reg Robinson going to do? I mean, that really is an occasion when a referee, I think, puts about 12 pairs of eyes. I think maybe in the end, he's going to let things simmer down. Drop ball. Behave like men, and for goodness sake, get on with it. But it certainly might mean that he's got to have his eyes about him even more so in the 5 minutes that remain. So there will be plenty who will say that he should have been brandishing a few cards and one thing or another, but who was guilty and who was not guilty, I'm not sure, and maybe in the end he came to the right decision.
Sure he did. Not the most memorable days at White Hart Lane. I think Peter Wells in the Southampton goal had one serious shot to save and Barry Daines 3 in the other end. That's the sort of afternoon it was, and it finished in a goalless draw. But to be fair, it was a very good point for Southampton, now in 3rd position, 5 points behind Liverpool and Manchester United though, but still very much on course for a place in Europe. And one old goalscorer, I'm sure, was shaking his head at what might have been Jimmy Greaves, one of the best-loved Tottenham players since the war, now a columnist in the Sun newspaper and the subject of a coming documentary on ITV. What does Jimmy think of the present Spurs side?
The present Spurs side, well, frankly, the way they play at times worries me a little bit. They play the offside game a little bit too much for my liking. They're a bit square at the back. Up front, we know that they're not scoring goals, but this can come. But of course, on their day, and I've seen them on their day, they're capable of beating any side in the First Division. And one would hope, I mean, obviously, I'm still a Spurs fan, my heart's still with the club, although I have to stay neutral, or try to. I'd like to see them at Wembley, obviously, and I think they've got a very good chance.
Do your feet itch you a little bit when you see them play out there?
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, you know, you're in a situation now, Brian, where I sit there every game and I score 6 goals. 3 for each side. Yes. You can't foul. I mean, it's beautiful. Yes. I mean, you're in a great position.
Yes. Tell me about this documentary that's being made about you now by ATV.
Well, the ATV documentary is basically based on my book. This one's on me, and
Tell me about that.
Well, we've taken my life story basically from the early Chelsea days right the way through to my problem that I had with drinking several years ago, up until the present day. And it brings in all the players and everybody who I've been connected with in football, and it gives my life story, tracing it through the football and the drinking problem, yes, up until as we sit here today, basically.
And I think anybody watching will be glad to say you've conquered that problem now.
Well, one never conquers the problem. It's a problem that I live with on a day-to-day basis. And hopefully, having done so for a long period of time now, I hope to continue doing it, because basically it's nice to be back in the land of the living and enjoying watching football and meeting all my old associates, including yourself again.
Good, that's nice of you to say that. And in fact, you're doing this column for The Sun. What else are you doing with your life now, Jim?
Well, I do several things. I'm tied up with an up-and-over garage door firm down at Swindon, and I do life insurance and pensions with Abbey Life. So I keep myself very busy, Brian. Very busy indeed.
It's lovely to see you again.
And you, mate.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Jimmy Greaves, who else? Well, that's it for this week. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll have more action for you on the big match next week. Pity that game at Tottenham wasn't quite the spectacle we'd all hoped for, but at least there were 1 or 2 moments, like Mick Channon coming out to the game, knowing that his horse, Man on the Run, was running at that very moment in the 2:45 at Stratford. Still running, yes, Mick, because I'd promised to signal him the result of that race from our television gantry. But sadly, the news that eventually I had to give him wasn't the news that Mick Channon wanted. The horse had finished nowhere. And that wasn't the only frustration we saw yesterday either.